So how do you do communion when every person in your church has to be in isolation right now? That's quite an interesting question. I can't really come around everybody's house and give you a piece of bread and a little bit of grape juice. I'm hoping that perhaps you have something like that at your own house. Did you panic by it? Did you go out and grab it, especially during these 2-hour-long queues? Perhaps you did. Perhaps you may not have. I didn't. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, we can't necessarily do communion together right now, all of us at the same time, with the same bread and the same wine, which would ordinarily kind of show the unity of our belief and faith. So what can we do that would recognize some form of unity, that we would have fellowship together or commonality together in the action? And I'm not trying to replace the sacraments, because I would hope that other people at home, you would have something, perhaps water or bread or biscuits, whatever. You can do it with anything. But just something to think about how we can as a church be unified in action. And looking at the world outside, walking around when I was doing shopping, standing in line for 2 hours, and looking at social media and the posts that people are putting up and the panic that's ensued. Yes, it is a serious time, but we need to remain calm. How do we show unity when we have those types of actions being demonstrated out in the community, the types of comments that are being put online? I'm not saying they're negative necessarily or positive. You can almost feel people's uncertainty and anxiety and stress. So what's something that we can do together as our action to try and remember the confidence that we have in God and the confidence that we can have as Christians? And I thought to myself, well, we have a prayer that we say regularly. We often say it at the beginning of sporting events, beginning of anything nationally significant. I used to have to, we didn't really say it, we sang it at intermediate and at high school. As soon as I say sang or sing, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about God of Nations, our national anthem. It is a prayer. It is something that I know, or I think that we as Christians, we do believe in. When we sing it, it's a prayer. It's not just something we do because it was written about our nation hundreds of years ago, or we should be doing it because it's part of the sporting event and that's what you do for your country. And in this time of uncertainty, anxiety, fear, stress, freak out, it's something that we can actually sing and pray at the same time. It's something we can do as a church unified together. And something that's of note, that is part of our faith. We're exercising our faith as we sing, saying, God, defend New Zealand. There are 5 verses in the original English, and actually they are translated in the Te Reo as well, if you'd like to go and sing them. I suggest you just sing the first 1 or 2 verses. But within the 5 verses, it also talks about any enemies coming onto our shores, and that God defending us from any of those enemies that come on. Often we think perhaps those enemies are physical people. I think perhaps in World War I and World War II we were thinking like that. But now we're coming into a space where actually it's a different kind of enemy we're facing. Even though it's perhaps created by our own pride or whatnot. But we are facing an enemy together. So I think it would be cool if we could come together and sing God of Nations, God defend New Zealand. That's me for today. Hope you enjoy Russell's message if you already haven't had a peek at it first. And hope you are well, hope you are safe. See you, those of you who are on Facebook, I'll see you there. Any support or help, give us a bell on Facebook and we'll see what we can do. Cheers.